Hello everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and today I'm joined by Steve Bowling to discuss the recent leak that SNK is the publisher behind the 4th Smash Ultimate Fighters Pass DLC character. So let's get started.
And real quick, Ash, before we continue, we should let people know why we're even talking about this. If you haven't seen our news update, Nintendo recently outed by mistake that an SNK character is coming in Fighters Pack 4 via a copyright notice belonging to SNK at the bottom of the product page for the new DLC, which tells us that it's definitely an SNK character because the source is Nintendo themselves, and it's right on Smash's page, maybe even right now.
So, Steve, this is massive news. I don't think any of us saw this coming. How could we, right?
Right.
I'm sure someone out there did, but SNK, who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I didn't expect SNK to have a character in Smash. I mean, we don't even have Samurai Showdown on the Switch yet, so it seems like weird timing. Like, Dragon Quest Hero made sense because we're getting Dragon Quest very soon. Persona makes sense, or Joker makes sense because we're getting a Persona offshoot on the Switch, and that's announced. So I guess we do have, like, a precedent. Like, Samurai Showdown is announced, but I don't think it even has a Switch release date yet. So, that said, an SNK rep almost certainly won't be from Sam Show.
I agree.
I'm not expecting that at all. So,
and can you imagine the anti-anime swordsman community that literally is an anime swordsman almost?
I almost want a Sam Show rep because of that.
Yeah. And it's also the fact that, not only are these characters somewhat germane to Nintendo, like Hero again getting Dragon Quest XI's, but also, I mean, we have to talk about overall industry relevance, right? And that's not, you don't think of SNK first when you think of huge, big deal, iconic characters. And that's not a smear on SNK. I love a lot of SNK games, but when I think fighting game characters, I think Ryu and Ken, not Terry Bogard. When I think, it's obviously they're a respected developer in Japan. Maybe they're a little less well-known here, but this just seems so weird to me, especially in the context that we know Nintendo is the one, or Nintendo top brass are the ones who went after the DLC characters and decided them, not Sakurai. So, I mean, I'm sure Sakurai had input, but, Nintendo was, at least according to Sakurai, Nintendo kind of decided these characters.
Right.
So
it is weird when you think in the context of 2019 and what the gaming landscape looks like now.
Right.
But Smash is also about paying homage to gaming history.
True.
And SNK is a big part of that. During the 16-bit era and the fighting game boom of the mid-90s, SNK was a major player. Like, they were Capcom's chief rival
Absolutely.
back then.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And so, I mean, of course, I guess the first character you think of when you think SNK character in Smash is probably Terry Bogard for most people.
Absolutely.
Which I hope it's not him, just because we already have Ryu and Ken. To me, visually, he doesn't stand out in the roster. I don't really personally have a lot of love for the character, but I think that is one of the most obvious choices.
So I'll be honest, that he's the one I want.
Really? Okay, interesting.
And it's because I played a lot of Capcom versus SNK in the 90s.
Of course.
And Terry was Ken's rival, And I think it would be cool to kind of see that in Smash.
That would be cool.
In absence of a proper Capcom versus SNK 3, which I think every fighting game fan wants at this point.
Right. Well, another SNK fighting game character that I've always actually really appreciated the design of, and I think it would be cool to get because there are no female characters in the DLC roster yet, except for a bird, which is, except for Kazooie. I would like to see Athena.
Athena would be really dope.
I love her look. I love the moves she does. She's kind of like anime sparkly, and she doesn't really look like anybody else in the roster. And I think her moves would be different from kind of everybody else in the roster too. So if it is a fighting game character from SNK, I think Athena is who I would want.
Right. I can't see it not being a fighting game character. I mean,
right.
You do have other franchises like Metal Slug and whatnot, but I feel like there's such a diverse roster of fighting game specific characters that would be easier to fit into Smash, as opposed to somebody who's from like a side scroller or something different. So
true. Although Metal Slug does, it is one of the old school shoot 'em up, 2D shoot 'em up, Contra like series that really has a lot of respect in the industry. I mean, Metal Slug was a long running series. People still love it today. And that is the kind of retro-tinged thing that would really stand out in Smash, I think. So I don't want to rule out a Metal Slug character like Fio or Aerie or something, because they could come with their own weird moveset, and that a Metal Slug character would truly be out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, no, I agree that would be the biggest surprise. Even knowing that it's SNK, I would still be pretty shocked if it was a Metal Slug character, in a good way.
Oh no, for sure, in a good way. Thinking about fighting game characters again, not that I agree with this. I think it should be completely fine, but I can unfortunately think of two very good reasons my Shiranui is probably not the character, and it should not be the case. It should not be the case. And they did bring Bayonetta into Smash and kind of altered her design to make it a little more Smash family friendly. So they could do that with Mai too. But I just feel like it's more likely not to be her.
Right, and I'll give you a very good reason why I don't think it's Mai. Because Chun-Li isn't in Smash. She doesn't have someone.
You're right.
You can't make a good Mai Shiranui trailer with any of the existing Smash roster.
You're right.
You
really can't. That's a great point. You cannot have Mai without Chun-Li. That just doesn't. Because Chun-Li is the preeminent female fighting game character.
Right.
So yeah, you can't have one without the other. I agree. The only other SNK characters that I kind of like to think about in terms of possibilities are Bub and Bob from Puzzle Bobble. And the reason I say that is because they come from Bubble Bobble, of course, which is a Taito game, but Taito licenses those characters out to SNK. And Bubble Bobble was like a seminal game for me growing up. And I want a Bubble Bobble stage with the only track being the NES Bubble Bobble theme.
I would be down for that.
Yeah, so I would, I think that would be a really neat, like, out of nowhere character, like Bub. What in the world? But I think it is most likely, as you said, a fighting game character. And I'm pulling for Athena, if it is. And it is worth noting that there's a 4chan leak out there. Of course, it is 4chan, so take it with a grain of salt. But there is a 4chan leak out there stating that the next Smash DLC character will be a female.
Right.
So that is worth noting, but don't put your, don't bet anything on it.
Right. I think if it was going to be a female, it would be Mai. And I just don't see that happening.
Right. You don't think Athena has a chance?
I don't think so.
Okay.
As much as I love her, and I agree with you on every point you've made about her, and I'd love to see her. I think she'd be more interesting than any of the characters I think are likely.
Yeah.
I think if they were going to choose a female, it would be Mai, because she's the one they throw into all kinds of crossovers as is.
Right.
She is in a lot of different properties that SNK has partnered with.
Right.
But like you said, I just don't think that she is a Smash-friendly character, and she doesn't have anyone on the roster to really play off of. I am 80% convinced that we're getting Terry Bogard.
It probably is that, and and I've seen some people are like, oh, it's going to be Yamazaki or some other more obscure, and it's like, no, like it's already SNK, so it's already obscure for most people to a point. So this is going to have to be a really high profile character from them.
Right, and we have to remember that SNK loves Terry Bogard so much that they put him in SNK heroines.
That's a really good point. I do want to call out one more character I think would be cool to see, and that's Nakoruru from Sam Show.
Yes.
Because she has her eagle, and she has like little kunai, although that is similar to Joker. But she's an interesting character archetype that you don't, she has a bird she can use, which is not something you see a lot. So that would be a cool surprise, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was going over the possibilities in my mind, she was right there near the top of the list, but while it would make sense to a certain degree to have a Sam Show character for obvious reasons that we outlined earlier, I just don't see her or anyone else from that franchise coming in, unless, maybe as a spirit or something else, which would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see her joining the main roster. I think she is recognizable, but not enough to the point that people outside of SNK's fandom would know exactly who she is at first glance.
Right, exactly. And I do think that, we have Street Fighter and Smash, and the only, Street Fighter, as you said, Street Fighter and King of Fighters were rivals.
Right.
And so I think in that sense they play off of one another, and, the only other fighting game series I can think of that could take that mantle is Mortal Kombat, but we're not going to get a Mortal Kombat character in Smash, and I would much rather have SNK, because I don't think Mortal Kombat really fits the Smash. I know a lot of people want Scorpion. I'm not one of them, sorry. But I do think that SNK plays off Street Fighter, I think King of Fighters plays off Street Fighter being in Smash very well, as you said, with Chun-Li and Mai.
Right.
And I think that does make the most sense.
Yeah. The only other character I want to put out there is Ryo from King of Fighters as well, or Art of Fighting, then King of Fighters later.
Right.
And he also cameoed in Fatal Fury, so as a dream match. So
that would be,
he would be, if they were going more for like the 90s rivalry angle, he would be interesting because he's basically a ripoff of Ryu and Ken.
Right.
And, so that would be kind of funny in a way, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Sure.
I think Terry is like their recognizable frontline character. I can't believe that it would be anyone else, but I would be happy to be wrong.
Sure. No, same here. Well, anything else you want to speculate about here?
I think that's it. I think we're going to find out very soon, hopefully.
I do too. I think it'll be soon. All right, well then that does it for us here. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to get instant notifications right when we upload new content. Otherwise, keep it on GameXplain for more on Smash Bros. Ultimate, the Nintendo Switch, and all things gaming. Until next time, guys, bye!